My friends, when you enter a room, you communicate long before your mouth ever opens. Your presence speaks. Your intention speaks. Your spirit speaks. Many people fail in life not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because they have never learned how to speak in a way that carries weight, influence, and truth. They talk, but they do not connect. They speak, but they do not transform. They express words, but those words have no authority, no conviction, no depth. Today, I want to tell you something that will change the way you communicate for the rest of your life. Real communication begins from the heart before it reaches the tongue. If your heart is not aligned, your words will have no power. If your intentions are scattered, your voice will have no impact. If your mind is confused, your communication will be shaky. You can learn techniques, gestures, vocabulary, but without alignment in your spirit, your speech will fall flat. When I look at many people, they speak from anxiety, not confidence. They speak from fear of judgment, not clarity. They speak from confusion, not conviction. And yet they wonder why their words do not land the way they desire. They wonder why people do not listen, why conversations fall apart, why influence escapes them. My friends, you cannot speak smart until you think smart, and you cannot think smart until your inner life is in order. Communication is a spiritual transaction before it ever becomes a verbal one. What you carry inside is what people will hear, whether you say it or not. You can hide insecurity behind elaborate words, but people will feel it. You can hide confusion behind loudness, but people will sense it. You can hide pride behind polished sentences, but people will detect it. When your heart is wrong, your communication becomes weak. When your heart is right, even a whisper becomes powerful. Some of you are trying to win arguments, but you are losing hearts. Some of you are trying to sound intelligent, but you are not sounding authentic. Some of you speak quickly to appear confident, but your speed reveals your fear. Real power is never in the volume or the pace. Real power is in the intention, the clarity, the calmness that comes from within. You cannot speak powerfully when your mind is full of noise. You cannot persuade others when you are battling yourself. You cannot bring clarity when you are drowning in confusion. My friends, silence is sometimes the most powerful communication. When you learn to be silent inside, your words begin to carry weight outside. When you learn to listen deeply, your voice becomes sharper, wiser, and more accurate. Every truly powerful communicator listens twice as much as they speak, not because they are weak, no. They are strong enough to understand that wisdom flows toward those who listen. When you listen, you learn the heart of the person before you speak to their mind. When you listen, you begin to understand what is behind the question, behind the expression, behind the frustration. Many people answer questions, but they never answer hearts. Many people respond to words, but they never address the deeper meaning hidden beneath those words. If you want to speak smart, you must learn to speak to the hidden part of people. Speak to the part they are not saying. Speak to the part that is hurting, that is confused, that is searching. People remember not what you said, but how your words made them feel. People forget your sentences, but they never forget your impact. Impact is the true measure of communication. And impact does not come from the tongue. It comes from the spirit. My friends, let me tell you something. Powerful authority is not in how loud you speak Authority is in how deeply your words penetrate. When you speak from a place of truth, your voice carries influence. When you speak from a place of wisdom, your voice carries direction. When you speak from a place of peace, your voice carries stability. People hear your tone before they hear your message. They feel your energy before they understand your logic. They sense your intention before they process your information. If the energy you carry is restless, people will feel threatened. If the intention you carry is selfish, people will feel manipulated. If the emotion you carry is anger, people will feel attacked. But if the energy you carry is calm, people will relax. If your intention is pure, people will listen. If your emotion is grounded, people will trust you. Communication is an emotional transaction before it becomes an intellectual one. So some of you are trying to persuade with facts, but forgetting that people are moved by feeling. Some of you are trying to influence with arguments, but forgetting that people are drawn by authenticity. Some of you think communication is about sounding perfect, while people are longing for something real. Speak from your scars, not your wounds. Speak from your experience, not your ego. Speak from your clarity, not your confusion. This is how you gain the trust of those who listen to you. People do not follow the person who knows everything. They follow the person who understands deeply. My friends, you must learn to pause before you speak. The pause is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of mastery. The pause allows your thoughts to settle. The pause gives your mind room to breathe. The pause gives your spirit space to speak. Powerful communication is crafted in the silence between your thoughts. When you speak without thinking, your words become scattered. When you think without pausing, your mind becomes noisy. But when you pause, you step into the realm of intention, clarity, and precision. Communication is not a race. It is not a competition. It is not a performance. It is a connection. Connection requires presence. It requires sincerity. It requires humility. Many people lose the room because they try to dominate instead of connect. They try to impress instead of express. They try to command instead of understand. Let me tell you something. Humility strengthens your speech more than confidence ever could. Confidence without humility becomes arrogance, and arrogance destroys influence. But humility with confidence becomes authority, and authority transforms hearts. When you speak with humility, people feel safe in your presence. When you speak with sincerity, people open themselves to your message. When you speak with clarity, people trust your direction. Every word you speak carries your identity. Before people believe your message, they first read your character. When your character is inconsistent, your communication becomes fragile. When your character is stable, your communication becomes powerful. Your words reflect who you are, not what you wish to be. If you want to speak smart, you must live smart. If you want your communication to elevate, your lifestyle must elevate first. My friends, the psychology of powerful communication is built on 3 pillars: awareness, intention, and authenticity. Awareness means you understand yourself, your emotions, your triggers, your fears, your strengths. A person unaware of themselves can never speak with clarity. A person disconnected from their own emotions can never reach the emotions of others. Awareness is the light that guides your communication. Intention means you speak with purpose. You do not speak to impress. You do not speak to dominate. You do not speak to be heard. You speak to connect, to guide, to uplift. to correct with love, to empower with truth. When your intention is pure, even hard words feel gentle. When your intention is impure, even gentle words feel hard. Authenticity means your words match your spirit. People can feel when your mouth speaks one thing and your heart speaks another. Your body betrays you. Your tone betrays you. Your eyes betray you. Authenticity is the harmony between your inner life and your outer expression. When you speak authentically, your words cut through noise, through doubt, through confusion. To speak smart is to understand timing. There are moments when silence is wisdom and moments when speech is necessary. There are moments when you must wait and moments when you must step forward. Some of you speak too early, some too late. The wise communicator discerns the moment. This discernment is not intellectual, it is spiritual. When you speak smart, you speak to inspire, not to injure. You speak to clarify, not to confuse. You speak to elevate, not to diminish. You speak to strengthen the weak, not to expose them. Words can be weapons or they can be medicine. They can destroy confidence or build it. They can break relationships or repair them. They can open hearts or close them. Choose your words the way you choose your future. Carefully, intentionally, wisely. My friends, to master communication, you must master your emotions. You cannot communicate powerfully when you are controlled by frustration. You cannot speak with wisdom when you are driven by anger. You cannot influence hearts when your own heart is in turmoil. Emotional discipline is the foundation of powerful communication. When your emotions are stable, your voice becomes steady. When your emotions are aligned, your message becomes clear. Remember this, people follow calm confidence, not emotional chaos. When your spirit is calm, even difficult conversations become easy. When your spirit is agitated, even simple conversations become battles. Calmness is not the absence of emotion. It is the mastery of emotion. It is the quiet strength that gives your words authority. Every conversation you have is an opportunity to plant something. Plant clarity. Plant peace. Plant direction. Plant wisdom. You never know which sentence will stay with someone for years. You never know which phrase will lift a person out of darkness. You never know which moment of understanding will change someone's path. Speak with intention because your words have consequences. Speak with care because your words have impact. Speak with truth because your words have power. My friends, the world listens not to the loudest voice, but to the most aligned voice. Not to the person who talks the most, but to the person whose words carry presence. Presence is not charisma. It is authenticity. It is the power of being fully yourself, fully grounded, fully aware. You cannot fake presence. You cannot pretend presence. Presence is the reflection of a quiet mind and a clear heart. If you want to master the psychology of powerful communication, start within. Begin with your inner life. Heal what needs healing, clarify what needs clarifying. Remove the noise, strengthen your intention, purify your spirit. When you do this, your words will rise naturally, effortlessly, powerfully. Your communication will no longer be a performance. It will be an overflow. And when you reach that level, people will not just hear you. They will feel you. They will remember you. They will trust you. They will be transformed by the power of your voice. Influence begins the moment your character aligns with your communication. Many people spend their whole lives trying to sound influential, trying to appear confident, trying to speak in a way that impresses others. Yet their words fall flat because the foundation of their life does not match the expression of their mouth. You can decorate your speech, but you cannot hide your character. You can polish your sentences, but you cannot conceal your nature. Influence is not something you manufacture. Influence is something you become. The moment your character stands in harmony with your words, your voice becomes a force that cannot be ignored. My friends, influence is not about how loudly you speak, how elegantly you articulate, or how dramatically you deliver your thoughts. Influence is the alignment between who you are within and what you communicate outwardly. When there is a gap between your character and your communication, people feel it. They may not be able to explain it, but they sense it. There is a hesitation in their trust, a question in their mind, a feeling of uncertainty in their spirit. They might smile at you, they might listen to you, they might even applaud you, but deep down, the connection never fully forms because something in your communication contradicts something in your character. But when your character and your communication begin to align, something extraordinary happens. Your words begin to carry the weight of truth. They begin to resonate. They begin to cut through doubt, through fear, through noise. You do not have to convince people to trust you. They trust you because they sense your sincerity. Influence begins not with the tongue, but with the life behind the tongue. When the life is clean, the words are clear. When the life is stable, the words are strong. When the life is grounded, the words become anchors for others. You must understand something vital. Influence is not a technique. It is not a strategy. It is not a trick you practice. Influence is the overflow of integrity. Influence is the fragrance of authenticity. Influence is the reflection of who you are when no one is watching. Some people want influence without responsibility. They want power without discipline. They want to be heard without living a life worth listening to. But true influence does not follow desire. It follows character. Character is the invisible foundation of every powerful communicator. Your character shows in your patience, your humility, your consistency, your honesty, your discipline, your quiet strength. People watch these things more than they hear your words. You cannot speak about peace when your spirit is full of turmoil. You cannot speak about honesty while practicing deceit. You cannot speak about discipline while your own life is in disorder. When there is contradiction, your words lose power. When there is alignment, your words gain authority. Authority is not granted by applause, titles, or positions. Authority is granted by harmony between your inner life and your outer expression. When you speak from a life that mirrors your message, your words penetrate deeper than those spoken with emotional force. People may forget the exact words you said, but they will never forget the weight behind them. Influence is spiritual before it becomes verbal. It flows from the core of who you are. Many people try to influence others without influencing themselves first. They try to correct others without first correcting their own habits. They try to guide others while stumbling in their own path. They try to teach discipline while living undisciplined. This is why their words carry no impact. Influence begins with self-alignment. You cannot guide others until you have guided yourself. You cannot bring clarity to others until you have confronted your own confusion. You cannot bring strength to others until you have conquered your own weaknesses. My friends, the psychology of influence is built on a simple truth. People follow who you are, not just what you say. If your character is inconsistent, your influence will be unstable. If your character is stable, your influence becomes unshakable. People may forget your advice, but they study your life. They study how you react under pressure. They study how you handle disappointment. They study how you treat others. They study your patience, your discipline, your endurance. Your life is always communicating, even when your mouth is not. Some of you wonder why your voice does not move people the way you want it to. You speak passionately, yet your words do not land. You speak loudly, yet your message does not sink. You speak confidently, yet your impact is shallow. And you ask yourself, why? The reason is simple. Your character is not supporting your communication. Words spoken without character are like seeds thrown on stone. They may exist, but they cannot grow. Words spoken with character are like seeds planted in fertile soil. They take root naturally. If you want influence, build character, develop discipline, practice patience, embrace honesty, live with intention, walk with integrity. These qualities give your voice gravity. These qualities turn simple sentences into impactful messages. These qualities make your presence stronger than your speech. Influence is not found in vocabulary. It is found in consistency. Many people think influence is about persuading others, but the deepest influence is not persuasion, it is inspiration. People are persuaded by arguments, but they are inspired by authenticity. When people see a life that reflects its message, something inside them awakens. They begin to trust. They begin to open. They begin to follow, not because you ask them to, but because your character compels them to. My friends, alignment between character and communication makes your voice a vessel of truth. Truth has its own strength. Truth has its own sound. Truth has its own weight. When you speak truth from a truthful life, your words gain a power that cannot be manufactured. Lies collapse. Pretension collapses. Exaggeration collapses. But truth stands, and when your life stands with it, influence flows effortlessly. Your communication will never rise above your character. You can memorize powerful speeches, but if your life contradicts your words, your message collapses. You can imitate great communicators, but if your heart is not aligned, the imitation becomes hollow. You can use powerful gestures, powerful tone, powerful expressions, but without character, your communication becomes performance. And performance cannot create lasting influence. Only character can. Alignment is the birthplace of authenticity. Authenticity is the birthplace of trust. Trust is the birthplace of influence. Influence is the birthplace of transformation. This sequence cannot be reversed. You cannot skip steps. You cannot chase influence while neglecting character. Influence is the fruit, character is the root. If the root is rotten, the fruit will be bitter. If the root is strong, the fruit will be abundant. You must also understand that influence is not something you force. Influence flows. Influence is the natural outcome of a well-aligned life. When your words match your actions, people believe you. When your intentions match your expression, people respect you. When your emotions match your message, people connect with you. This connection is the foundation of all meaningful influence. Whenever you listen to someone whose character aligns with their communication, you feel something beyond the words. You feel clarity, you feel strength, you feel stability, you feel sincerity. This is what makes their voice powerful. It is not the complexity of their sentences, but the purity of their spirit. It is not the volume of their message, but the depth of their integrity. When your character aligns with your communication, your voice begins to carry presence. Presence is influence without speaking. Presence is communication without words. Presence is the silent force that makes people take you seriously before you say anything. Presence happens when your inner life is clean enough, calm enough, sincere enough that people feel your energy before they hear your message. My friends, when your life is aligned, your communication becomes effortless. You no longer struggle to convince. You no longer struggle to impress. You no longer struggle to sound strong. Your words rise naturally like water flowing from a deep well. They carry depth because they come from depth. They carry life because they come from life. They carry peace because they come from peace. Some people spend years learning communication techniques but never spend a day strengthening their character. They practice their tone, their hand gestures, their word selection, their pitch, their pace, their expressions, but neglect the very thing that gives communication its power, integrity. Techniques may help you speak better, but only character helps you speak powerfully. Techniques may make people hear you, but character makes people trust you. Techniques may capture attention for a moment, but character captures hearts for a lifetime. Influence rises from the alignment of your deepest values with your daily actions. When your values guide your communication, your words become ethical, meaningful, and consistent. Consistency is one of the greatest sources of influence. When people can predict your reaction based on the stability of your character, they trust you. When people know your word is true, they listen to you. When people know your actions match your teachings, they follow you. My friends, influence does not require perfection. Influence requires sincerity. You do not need to be flawless. You need to be real. You do not need to have all the answers. You need to be honest about the answers you have. You do not need to be admired. You need to be authentic. People are not influenced by perfection. They are influenced by transparency, humility, and consistency. The world is full of voices, but few voices carry truth. The world is full of speeches, but few speeches carry sincerity. The world is full of communication, but few messages carry alignment. When your life aligns with your words, your message becomes uncommon. You become a rare voice in a noisy world. People begin to seek your counsel because your counsel is rooted in stability. People begin to cherish your words because your words come from experience. People begin to trust your guidance because your guidance reflects your character. Influence begins with alignment, and alignment begins with self-examination. You must look inward and ask yourself, do my words reflect my life? Do my values reflect my actions? Does my communication reflect my character? If not, the work must begin within. A person aligned within becomes unstoppable without. When your inner world is disciplined, your outer world becomes influential. Alignment gives you confidence that does not need validation, strength that does not need aggression, authority that does not need force. This is the path to becoming a communicator whose influence is not temporary but lasting, not shallow but deep, not artificial but genuine. Influence begins the moment your character aligns with your communication.